difficulties, and I hope you all hear me now. I assume that Olivera introduced the PA Awards of 2024, which I will have the opportunity to do later on today in more detail as part of my own presentation and her as well. But before we continue, I also assume that we got to the point where I'm supposed to introduce you to our partners, because as Olivera mentioned, the Public Administration Awards are organized together with Sigma OECD. Therefore, I will ask our colleague Jose to present briefly on their side and their role in the process. Jose, if you're ready, I leave it to you.
Thanks. Hello, I'm ready. I would like to check if you all can hear me well, please, because I'm hearing a lot of noise in the background.
Yes, we do hear a bit of background noise. We can hear you, but not all too well. You're a little bit quieter than expected. Background noise going on your side.
Yes, if everyone can mute, please. So, okay, now I think it's better. It's also better for you now?
It is, yes, you can proceed.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot for your kind words, for the kind introduction. For those of you who doesn't know Sigma, Sigma is a joint initiative between the OECD and the European Union. It was created in 1992, so we have been for 32 years continuously supporting public administration reform and improving public governance in the candidate countries to the European Union. So Sigma has provided support to many countries that are now full members of the European Union, like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Czech Republic, Poland, Slovakia, etc. And since few years ago, of course, we are concentrating in the Western Balkans as candidate countries. And we provide mainly advice on the design and prioritization of reforms, advice in implementing public policy reforms, also advising improving laws and administrative arrangement, and we also contribute to share good practices. And we have a great synergy with RESPA. Of course, RESPA is a good partner for us in this initiative since now is the third edition, and in many other papers and initiatives we do together. I think there is a great synergy between the two institutions. And I don't want to take a lot of more time from my side with presentations. I would only tell you that we're aware of so many good initiatives of reform in public administration in the Western Balkans. So I will encourage all of you to apply for the award, because the awards, as Olivera mentioned in the early presentation, if you could hear, this is a good opportunity not only to get recognized for all the hard work you're doing, but also to be part of a learning journey, and also to be able to learn from others and to inspire others. Because one thing in public administration reform is we will be more successful if we do it together. And the Public Administration Awards are a great opportunity for that. So please apply. We're always delighted to see so many good practices in the Western Balkans. So that's all from my side. Please, you can proceed.
Thank you. I just to make sure that everybody hears me at least now. Good. We're gonna proceed with the presentation. Let me know. I'll be checking out the chat box to see if you're having more difficulties with the connection. Let me just see. I can hear you very well. Okay, thank you, Jose. It's good. If there's anybody else, just let me know. Signal me. I will be checking the chat box in order to make sure that everything goes on smoothly from now on. We'll try with Olivera to briefly introduce this year's theme or the motto of the public administration awards. In case this doesn't work, then we will continue with me. I apologize, and you'll have to listen to me for another hour less, I hope. It's not going to take that long. So Olivera, please try and see without the camera if it will work.
So if this does not work, then I will ask Elisaveta to proceed, but I hope that it will. So let's continue with one.
No,
Olivera,
unfortunately,
sadly,
no, it's not working. So it's more of a, it's probably not a network issue. It's
Okay.
it's a different issue. So yes, let's proceed from now on. So like we already mentioned, this is the third time in a row that RESPA and Sigma co-organized the Public Administration Awards for the Western Balkans. It's been quite successful so far. We've received dozens of applications every year, and a lot of them were quite successful in terms of their even accomplishment, and that was recognized and rewarded. But even these applications that were not rewarded, they entailed certain very interesting solutions that could be at least transferred and replicable throughout the region. And so this year's motto, as you can see, is building a better public administration for and with users. So in this case, what we're trying to focus on this year, as you can see, is basically to have any type of initiative project developed in your respective administrations or by your respective administrations that is focused on what you consider your end users. It can be citizens, of course, primarily. It can be businesses, but it can also be indirect, so sort of used for citizens and businesses in the sense that even if you have a project or initiative that somehow improves processes within the administration, which automatically is to the benefit of citizens and businesses, you're also encouraged to apply. The difference, as opposed to previous years, for those of you who already took part, is that this year we don't have categories. So as you will be able to see, even in our application form, you don't have to choose between categories. You're all now under the same category, and they can be pretty much anything, any area of governance, of public administration, anything that you do in order to improve service delivery, and anything that you do that shows that you developed your initiative, if not with users together, then taking into consideration what their needs are and what their demands are in a certain way. As you can see, the objectives are to showcase principles, strategies, and best practices in building better public administration and to an enhancement of the quality of public services. So this is the difference as opposed to what we have in the previous years where we had categories. So now it's a little bit easier for you to apply because you don't have to fall under a certain category. It can be a collaborative project between different institutions that can cover a wider area of public service delivery, or it could be something that's quite specific, or it cannot, for whatever reason, be strictly defined under a certain category. Jose, would you like to add something, I see?
Yes, thank you for explaining this. This is a very important change we have this year. So now we have cut red tape for you, for the applicants. Now you don't have to try to define what's your practice, in which category falls over. And also, we will give you more freedom. So now we have tried to simplify a little bit and streamline the procedure so it's easy to make an application from your side. So that's why we have removed the categories. Thank you.
Absolutely, yes. We try to make it a little bit more encompassing, and we try to give you a room to be creative and sort of room in how you understand your initiative, what the ultimate goal is, what the means are that you use to achieve that goal. So it can be like through digital technologies, but it can be directed to, for example, welfare or some kind of social service or anything of that sort, which can be the combination of the two categories previously. This is just a brief reminder for those of you who haven't participated already. Like I mentioned earlier, we've already had 2 PA award competitions so far. One was in 2020. As you can see, the focus was mostly in relation to the recovery after COVID-19 pandemic. And then the previous edition, which was PA Awards 2022, it was dedicated to the recognition and awarding of outstanding public services that improve lives of citizens. And previously we did have categories that we currently decided to abandon in order to allow you to be more creative and to allow more initiatives to be able to recognize themselves under the scope of our competition. As you can see now, just let me, so like we mentioned, the PA Awards 2024 for the Western Balkans accept all applications from all areas of public administration and governance. It can be literally anything, as you can see from the menu below. It can be anything that's developed with user, that demonstrates understanding of user needs, that involves citizens in decision-making process, including transparency, participatory democracy, and empowerment of local communities. It can be something that's user-centered in terms of design and development. It can be something, an initiative that contributes to the integrity and accountability of public service delivery, that allows accessibility, that reduces administrative burden, that is creative, entails strategic foresight, and promotes collaboration. So in that sense, during our previous editions this year, we encourage applications that are collaborative in the sense that they're developed by 2 or more public administration. It can be in partnership as well with private entities, with NGOs and academia, or collaborative in the sense that they have this cross-border aspect, that they're regionally developed together with another administration. In that sense, you can, if you have these projects, we would definitely encourage you to apply. These issues that we consider transversal, that are supportive of your initiative, are not mandatory, but will particularly recognize the initiatives that promote green and sustainable development, that entail gender equality perspective, that are designed for vulnerable and marginalized groups and citizens at risk of being disadvantaged, that promote cross-border collaboration and community impact in the Western Balkans and beyond, that foster youth empowerment, and that ensure stability in the functioning of public administration in these ever-changing societal circumstances that we'll live in. One of the important segments that we have to mention for now is, of course, what the PA Western Balkan PA Awards bring to you. So there are numerous benefits and impact that you can have just by participating in this project. I mean, the whole process itself can be quite interesting, because sometimes you develop something and you're not in a position to sort of present it to a wider audience, to a European international audience, so to speak. And in certain cases, you don't even get a chance to present it at all. So even the application process itself will be able to help you think of your application as something that can be, in a way, marketed, that can be presented, it can be presentable, that can be of use to other public administration in terms of its transferability and impact. It can help you engage with other similar projects of the region and initiatives and persons and civil servants developing them, which will most certainly help you develop certain, even in the fine tuning in certain aspects of your application. Those of you who are selected as winners, apart from the benefits that you have from the experience from interacting with your peers, so to speak, or people doing the same thing that you're doing or similar things that you're doing, there will be trophies, there will be certificates, there will be a PA award ceremony. We'll say later on the timeline and see when this will take place. And there's this, what we call a tailored learning journeys for winners. So those of you who win will experience a package of activities that we specifically designed for our winners that include additional learning opportunities for sure, but also an opportunity to exchange with others and to be able to present your project to a wider audience. In addition to first, second, third prize that are usually most commonly given to participants, we also have special recognition prizes. So even if for this year, for example, if you're not, your project is maybe not mature enough to be awarded a prize, not to be recognized in that way, if there's certain attribute that deserves recognition, your project will most certainly be recognized as well. So in that sense, the most important thing is to apply. Just the process itself, that's not too demanding, will help you learn about your project, interact with others, and of course, if you're awarded, for those of you who developed it and for your respective administrations, it will be definitely a recognition that you deserve. This is the timeline just for orientation purposes. So the deadline for application is July 15, as you can see, midnight Central European time. After that, the applications received will be processed and it will be evaluated by a jury consisting, it's an international jury consisting of experts in the field who engage in similar contexts that exist in the world. When it comes to the evaluation and selection process, once it is completed, those of you who will who win the award will be informed at some time in September, and you will be informed on the upcoming events that will take place by the end of the year as part of the reward process. For those of you receiving rewards and special recognition prizes, there will be a major event that we usually organize, which is the PA Awards ceremony, which will in 2024 take place in November this year, where you will be invited to receive your trophies, prizes, and to be able to present your project in direct contact with your peers and the alumni of our previous editions. So let me switch to the other slide. So this is something that's more in relation to how you apply and some of the particular details. As you can see in our call, everything is available on RESPA website. So every possible information that's more detailed than including the instructions for application is available there. I will just briefly just go through some of the most important segments that you need to know before applying. When it comes to eligibility, all Western Balkans public administration institutions, organizations, regardless of how they're positioned within the structure, independent part of the government, and so on, are welcome to apply from all administrative levels. So that means national, subnational where applicable, and local level. So basically, you just have to be a public from the Western Balkans, a public administration organization, in order to be able to participate. Well, that makes you eligible. You can send your application jointly, which means you can send them together with another public administration. It can be from your own country. It can be from elsewhere from the Western Balkans. It can also you can also submit a joint application developed together by a nonprofit organization, by an academic institution, or by a private entity. In that case, public administration needs to be the lead. So basically, if you developed an application or initiative in partnership with, say, a private entity, you need to be the one submitting the application. And the majority and the purpose of this initiative has to be in relation to public service delivery and financed from public funds in order to be able to eligible to apply. We encourage these applications, of course, like every other collaborative project. In this case, you just have to bear in mind that the public administration or the lead institution will be awarded, not the private entities or other partners. Another thing, these are some segments that you have to also bear in mind in order to make sure that your initiative is eligible. It has to be in implementation. So projects that are not developed, that are currently under development, they're waiting to be implemented and so on, are not considered eligible. Even if you decide to apply with them, that will automatically not definitely lead to an award. But it's not something that we will mind, even for the purposes of just familiarizing yourself with the process in case your project will be mature enough to apply in our next edition, which will happen in 2 years. So they have to be in implementation. There's no defined period of implementation because that would be very hard to sort of estimate in a generic kind of way. It really depends on the type of project that you developed and the type of initiative that you're implementing. For some, in order to make sure that it really has results, that it's really result-oriented, we have to have this implementation period that's slightly longer, whereas there are initiatives that can give results and show progress even when they're shorter. Every public administration institution can submit more than one application. You just make sure that for each application you have to restart the process, so you will use our application tool. You will log in and then start a new application. This is just a technical matter, but you can feel free if your organization is developing more than one initiative, feel free to apply. You can submit as many as you like. When it comes to the application, in order for it to be eligible and to be processed, it needs to be filled out completely, which means that you have to answer all of the questions. Since we're using this application tool that's quite user-friendly, it will not allow you to move on unless you fill in all the mandatory fields. So in that sense, this is made easier for you. So you have to answer the questions. There are certain limitations in terms of character. And for the purpose of submitting your application, you have to use our contest platform that I will show you a little bit later, maybe just in a few minutes. In addition to answering the question, you're invited to submit any kind of supplementary documentation. It solely depends on you what you will submit. It can be maybe some press release on your project, anything that shows that your project is developed based on the assessment of the needs of its users, and that shows that it is result-oriented, that it has certain results, and that it contributed to a certain amount of progress in public service delivery. It can be, as you can see, charts, table diagrams, videos, audio material, photos, links to certain websites where public information on your project is available. With this regard, and having said that, I just want you to know that your applications have to be filled in English for obvious reasons, because they will be evaluated by an international jury of experts. But the supplementary documentation, if it's available in your own language or any other language, it can be submitted the way it is. If it's a press release, for example, it can be submitted in the language. You don't have to have it translated. If you can, of course, certain supplementary documentation, that would be much appreciated, but this is not mandatory, whereas the rest of the application has to be filled in English. And there's another new thing that we introduced this year that I'd like to remind you of, which is that if you already applied with a project or initiative in our previous editions in 2020 and 2022, you may resubmit your application, provided that your application has undergone noteworthy updates, adaptations, and further development, so that it proves to us that now your application is mature and is valuable and is valid for further evaluation. So if you applied, if it wasn't successful the first time, you're encouraged to apply again, because due to this 2-year period in between, it allows you probably to make certain major improvements that may result in your application actually winning this time. So when it comes to a more technical aspect of it, although I will not waste your time to sort of enter the application and show you how it works, because it's really relatively easy. It's actually quite easy and then it's user friendly. So we use this application tool. It's a platform. This is how you submit your applications. Everything you see, the link is available here, but it's also available at RESPA website, including the application guidelines and instructions where you pretty much can go through every step, and it will most certainly be quite easy for you to figure out how it works. The only rule is to make sure you fill in each mandatory field, because otherwise the application will not allow you to continue. You don't have to fill in the application one take. As you can see, there's a save and continue option, so you can just fill in 1 or 2 questions and then continue at a later stage. It doesn't matter. So you can always go back to it up until you click submit, then it becomes final. But before that, you can always opt for save and continue at your convenience. Before starting the application, one of you who will be filling out the application for sure has to register an account. Once you register an account, you will be able to file the applications and continue at any stage until July 15, which is the deadline. As you can see, the page that you can see on your screens is where you register. It's quite simple. It's something that we're all now used to. And after that, you will be able to proceed. The difference is, for those of you who already use the tool, that in order to proceed with the application process, you would have to choose a category. Since this year we don't have categories, you will just opt for the option that says all categories, and it will allow you to continue with the application process. In order to prepare your answers, what you need to know is that they're, first of all, limited in character. So you really have to be precise, and you have to sort of be focused on what you want to show, and not waste words trying to explain something that will not be regarded as an evaluation criterion. As you can see here, there's evaluation criteria that will be taken into account. So basically your application will be sifted against the criteria that you see below. So in each and every one of your answers, you just try and make sure that you're focused on trying to show and prove that your initiative meets these criteria. To a certain extent, it does not have to be 100%, of course, so it should not be interpreted as something that's absolutely mandatory, but this is what the evaluation committee will be taken into account when assessing your application. So they have to be effective, they have to have a certain impact and tangible results, whatever that may be. You can also, if you have any documentation supplementary, as I mentioned, that can prove that, that's more than welcome. It has to show that it's inclusive, collaborative, participatory. That's not something that's just strictly developed by one organization, not shared and not including other whoever. It can be other institutions, organizations, and public administrations in your country, in other countries, private entities, NGOs, and so on. This is all welcomed, and it will get you additional points. It needs to be developed in a transparent manner. It has to be developed in a way that shows integrity and accountability of public service delivery. Sustainability is also something that is valued, that your application has sort of the vital elements that will allow your initiative to sort of survive over a certain period of time. It's desirable to be forward-looking. Innovative elements are also regarded as something of great value, but don't interpret this in this very strict manner, even if your application is a replication of an existing initiative elsewhere, but developed in a way that's original or adapted to your particular circumstances. It's also welcome to apply. Now, if it's entirely innovative, that's of course an asset, but even if it's not entirely innovative, if it's a replication or a transfer of somebody else's good practice initiative, be it from Europe or elsewhere in the world that is applicable in your own region, these initiatives are also encouraged to apply. Visibility, the outreach, how you communicated your application, how you manage to contact your users, your end users, to make sure that they're aware of your application, their results, and how they were involved. That's also something that will be evaluated. And the last but not least is transferability and replicability, because like I mentioned, the whole experience for you who decide to participate is basically something that will allow your initiatives to be mainstreamed in a way. And if they have this transferability and replicability aspect, it may lead to certain prospects of collaboration with administrations of the region if they are interested to develop something of a sort, which is often the case because we're all going through similar processes. And a lot can be learned from somebody else's experience. So this is from my side with regard to the Public Administration Award. The goal, so briefly, it's for users, with users. It just has to take into account those who will be directly or indirectly affected by your initiative. In order to be eligible, you have to be a public administration from the Western Balkans. It can be any level. Local is particularly encouraged to apply. So basically, national level, of course, if there are other level in between some national levels, they're also encouraged and welcome to apply. In order to, you can apply, you can submit one application, you can submit more than one, as many as you can. There are no limits with that regard. When filling out the application form, you can save and continue at any stage until final submission and until deadline, which is July 15th. Should you have any questions in relation to the contest itself, eligibility, any kind of requirement that we have in our documentation, or you're facing any kind of difficulty, be it technical or understanding what's expected from you, please contact us. You can see the email address where Western Balkans Public Administration Awards team will always be at your disposal, and we will answer all your questions as soon as we can. Also, as you can see at my last slide, as some of the frequently asked questions from the previous editions, basically, we also encourage you now to ask your questions if you have any, that hopefully I will be able to answer together with Jose and Oliveira's assistants. If not, we will be able to answer them at a later stage. Of course, if you don't feel comfortable speaking out loud, you can send your questions in the chat box, and then we will be able to answer them in writing, and the answers will be available on our website. I don't know, Jose, if you're still here. Oliveira, would you like somebody?
I will try now again, but many thanks to you, Elisaveta. You really have presented everything into detail, and I hope that our attendees got very good information from this excellent presentation. And I don't know if you can hear me well. If the same problem persists, please let me know. And if it is okay, I would just encourage you. Elisaveta presented you all the main elements of this edition. As we said, it is the objective is to recognize, award, and present your initiatives that all fall under the main topic of the services provided, made, and created for users and with users. We know that this is sometimes theoretically easier than in practice, because it's not easy to include really the users in the creation of services, in providing their viewpoints on how one service should meet their needs to the maximum. But we know that these initiatives exist in the region. So if your initiative does not correspond exactly to the examples that we have enlisted, please still apply, because we were just provided the list of the example. The list is not exhaustive, so please, you are encouraged to apply, and also now to ask any possible questions. I would like to give the floor to our participants, and we are here to provide the answers.
We have one question in the chat box, and which is quite good actually. Do you have a downloadable version of the application form? Yes, we do. Actually, on our website, we have several documents. One of them we call a methodology, and here you will be able to find all the questions basically, and that exact form that can be found on the platform. In our documentation, the website, you can also find short descriptions of the questions, so that you can pretty much, in comparison to the evaluation criteria, understand better what is expected from you under this question. So the limits, just to mention, is between 600 and 900 characters per question, depending on how important, so to speak, the question is for us to assess the quality of your application. So it doesn't really have to be long. It should not. It's not extremely burdening to fill in the application. It's relatively simple, but you can see the questions as well as before submitting. Once you submit your application, it can be extracted in a Word document, so it can be downloaded for your perusal, so that you know what you submitted to us. Like Olivera said, if you have any more questions, just let me know. If anybody would like to speak. Or would like to type in something, or you can do a hands up, or just to let me know if you have questions for now, but even at a later stage. Also, I would kindly ask you to disseminate this information. So although technically you are being like the competition for each other, you should not see it like that, because the best of you will most certainly be rewarded, but even those of you who are not rewarded, your initiatives will be recognized, and receiving as many applications will definitely attribute to the whole quality of experience, even for the winners. And for us to make sure that in our activities in the future we can adapt them to fit your needs, and for you to be able to sort of just go through this experience, to try out how it works, to learn from it, to learn what your maybe weaknesses are, to sort of be able to observe what you've been working on for probably quite a long period of time from a certain amount of distance, which will allow you to observe it better, to see its flaws, and so on. So especially, I mean, taking into consideration that it really is not that time consuming for you to fill out the form and to prepare everything that is needed. And of course, your ability to interact, to share the information, to find individuals and public service officials and civil servants who work in the field that you can always get in touch with and share experience. So feel free, do not see others as your competition, because in a way they are, but if you're confident of your application, they're not. But even if you're not, like I said, even if you're not 100% sure that you will be awarded this year, I also encourage you to apply regardless, in order to have this experience, and in order to prepare for the next year's, for the 2026 edition. Like I said, for those of you who already tried with an initiative that was not rewarded the previous 2 times, they can always do it again if it has undergone certain improvements.
If I may add something before we are, maybe our participants are thinking, just Elisaveta said the application allows you to attach all the documents, that supporting documents that would showcase the elements of your application. It is important to say that it does not need to be translated to English. If you have in your own language, in the language used in your public administration, please do not be discouraged in that sense, because in the last edition there were questions in this respect, and we have allowed, I would say. We understand that these translations can be time-consuming, money-consuming, so please just attach the documents in the language used in your public administration.
Also, in addition, I think it could be of help and it could be interesting for you in practical terms. On our website, you can see our previous editions and you can see the winners of our previous editions. You will probably recognize some of the projects, especially coming from your administrations and maybe even some others that are notable in the region. And even based on that, you can pretty much see what type of initiative is and the quality of initiative that is rewarded and recognized. And it will help you maybe get in touch with our previous participants who will be able to assist you in some kind of like practical guidance from a user's perspective or from a participant's perspective, because I'm sure that most of you already know them, but you probably didn't know that they won. So it will give you an opportunity to get to know them better and to sort of see that there's certain projects from your own administration that basically that already won, and some even at European level and so on, which is also very, very good to know and to have in mind to sort of be encouraged and inspired to take part in competitions like this one, and primarily this one that's specifically designed for you. I don't see any additional questions, so I will.
May I ask you something? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
of course.
Okay, hello everyone. On behalf of the municipality of Nikšić, I just wanted to ask you to clarify one thing. For example, we had one project led by NGO and successfully implemented. For example, developed some applications, web applications and mobile applications, provided some good service for our citizens, etc. So if NGO was a leading partner and municipality was, let's say, final beneficiary, final consumer of that outputs, can we apply, can we submit this proposal together with that specific NGO, just municipality of Nikšić to be the main applicant for this award and jointly submit this application?
Like I mentioned, we do encourage collaboration, but what we are trying to recognize and reward is definitely the contribution of a public administration institution. So in every such application, you as the municipality would need to be the lead. So you would need to be in charge or participate, if not slightly over 50% in the development, application, implementation, and so on. Apart from you submitting the application, so basically we accept applications that are developed in a way, but in support, of course, that is also recognized as a great attribution to public service delivery. But it has to be you in the lead. It has to be, so if it's something that's developed for you as a beneficiary, that would not be considered eligible. But if it's something that's developed together with you for the users of your services, or even for the municipality in order to make it more efficient for the users of your services, or the citizens living there, the businesses working there, in that sense, you're encouraged to apply. But if the evaluation committee finds that it's basically another entity that's leading the whole project, that may not be considered eligible in the final assessment.
Exactly. So we had these examples in the previous editions, and we understand that the work of the NGOs is really exceptional and of big value for the region, for the users, but it is needed. The public administration, as Jelisaveta explained, has the lead, and it is then, if you apply, it will be very clearly visible in your application. So regardless of the great probably results for the beneficiaries, and which is really respectful, this kind of the application would not be eligible.
we hope this
Thank you
answers
for
your question.
clarification.
If it's clear, if there's something more in particular, just feel free to contact us. If it's like a little bit shady or a gray area going on in defining who is in the lead, so to speak. I'm sorry, I muted myself and talking. Let me, if there are more questions. Anybody else? Don't see any hands. Not too late. You can always get in touch, as you know. Everything is pretty much available, as you know, on RESPA website. But there's, if it's plenty or something, just ask if you're in doubt. Like sometimes it happens when you work together with somebody, it's very hard to estimate each individual contribution. In that sense, well, it most certainly depends on the evaluation committee and the jury, how they estimate it, but predominantly it should be something developed by the public entity.
Also, if you meet any problem in the application, in the technical problem, you have the address of the RESPA and of the technical support, so please don't wait. And also after this session, it's usually sometimes people find their questions after something has been finished. So please just communicate with us at any given time. So we are here to help you. There is a team in RESPA, in Sigma, and we are available practically all the day. And please do not hesitate to ask anything at the website, at our mail addresses that are presented at the web page.
For sure, that will mean a lot to us as well. Although we've had very, very good experience with the platform, but there can always be something. So as soon as you notice something, just let us know so that we can fix it for the others. More questions? I don't see any hands or just in the chat. I think it should be it, I'd say. So like I said, we remain at your disposal, and spread the word. I mean, whoever you have in mind, whoever you work with. Like I said, local administration, we particularly would like to see applications from local governments as well. If you can reach out, spread the word. And well, enjoy the experience and just stay in touch. Yeah, I think that should be it. No questions for now. Apparently everything is clear, but I think it will be clear throughout. And looking forward to receiving applications from you, and thank you for your time. Stay in touch. You can keep track on everything that's going on with RESPA if you're not familiar with our organization already. And you will find a lot of different initiatives that may be interesting to you apart from the PA Western Balkans PA Awards. Yes, stay in touch. Take care, and looking forward to hearing from you in the form of an application of your initiative. Bye.
Thank you for attending the session. We are waiting for your applications and your questions. So take care, and maybe see you again at the next second info session.